Welcome back to Time Warner Cable Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. I'm glad you're with us. Our guest today is Bob Blumenfield. He's a member of the California State Assembly. And sir, I want to speak with you about the UC and CSU system. As you may know, over the last 10 years, state spending on those two systems have dropped 42% when adjusted for inflation. And yet the numbers are not dropping that much. In fact, they're growing. So what are you doing to try to remedy this imbalance?
Well,
if you're trying anything.
Oh no, I'm trying a lot. I mean, I think education, higher education is essential for the growth of the state of California. It's one of the things that makes California great, and I'm very committed to doing everything we can to bolster our UC, CSU, and community college system.
You know, I recently read that if we, the state, paid for every single UC student, it would cost the state $3 billion. That doesn't sound like a lot of money when you consider an $85 billion budget. Why don't we just go back to the way it used to be? Let's give free education to everyone. That was the golden dream of California. That's what the master plan was hoping for.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I'm co-authoring a bill that would move us very much in that direction. It's called the Middle Class Scholarship Bill, Middle Class Scholarship Act. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it closes a tax loophole that primarily affects out-of-state companies, that incentivizes them to have manufacturing out of state, closes that loophole and applies that money to lowering tuition for middle-class families. 2/3 less in tuition. So the UC students would pay 2/3 less, CSU students would pay 2/3 less, and the community college system would be infused with $150 million.
But speaking of 2/3, you need 2/3 to get this bill out of the state assembly and state senate. Right. And historically, the Democrats have been unable to get 2, 3, 5 Republicans to vote to get to the 2/3. So are you working with your Republican colleagues? Are you having any success?
Yes, very much. I mean, as you mentioned, unfortunately, even to close a tax loophole in the state of California requires a 2/3 vote. And there are some ridiculous loopholes that should be closed. This is one of those. This is one that mostly benefits out-of-state companies, including many tobacco companies.
But last year, if I remember, 2 Republicans, I think it was in the Assembly, jumped ship, if that's what you want to call it, to close the loophole. Yep. And that's usually the tougher house, the Assembly. I mean, some would argue that's...
And I was part of that. I was part of a special task force to close this loophole. I'd supported a bill originally just to close the loophole. Then I tried to do it with working with some Republicans where we traded different tax credits that made more sense. And in a small group of us, we're able to get together and get 2 Republicans to come on board. That's all you need in the Assembly, and to close that loophole in favor of other loopholes.
It died in the Senate. That's supposed to be the easier house.
It died in the Senate. So we're bringing back that idea, but this time we're trying to make what that money would go to so irresistible and that even these Republicans, or not only irresistible, but so hard to oppose, really creating a stark question that folks are going to have to. Do you favor our California students on the one hand that this bill would support, or do you want to favor tobacco and out-of-state companies?
Federal Republicans came out against the Buffett rule, and that has huge popularity nationwide. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just not convinced the Senate Republicans or 2 more Assembly Republicans will say yes.
Well, I think we're going to get Assembly Republicans. I've been working very closely with my colleagues. I've been talking to folks behind the scenes. I think we're going to get the votes in the Assembly, and if enough people hear this broadcast and put pressure on the Senate,
amen for this broadcast.
Yes, then we can create. If the choice is made stark, and Republicans in the Senate are faced with that choice, who do they favor? Students or out-of-state companies?
So when are we going to have a bona fide vote? We've been talking about this for a couple months.
I'm thinking we're going to do it at some point before November. So in the next few months, I'm hoping we're going to be able to bring this vote to the fore. We're ready to do it in the Assembly. We're trying to gather it. We want it to be, when we bring the vote forward, we want it to be successful, but at the end of the day, if it can't be, we want the choice to be clear.
Bob Blumenfield, I'm Brad Pomerance. Thanks for joining us. Back to HLN.